action physical therapy, an adjunct professor at New York Medical College, where she has been involved for various courses for her doctorate program. This is one of the hardest working women I know. She has 4 kids. She's been up every night for like 2 months straight working, day in and day night, and raising 4 kids. She's amazing. She speaks all over the country as a product specialist. She'll be very quick. Don't leave for her because she's going to tell you things that will be life-changing. Dr. Tamara Weinstein.
Woo! Thank you so much. What a nice intro. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out tonight. It's so nice to see such a crowded room of people who really seem to be here to care about their health and to make some changes, right? A little bit of a review. Let me just make sure I got my clicker going here. So when we're talking about overall health, it was mentioned before, and Jessica had mentioned as well, that a multivitamin is really important. And, you know, I truly believe that our food supply doesn't necessarily give us all the nutritional value that we really need, right? Our food is not what it used to be. It's large in size, it's pretty in color, it's calorie dense, but unfortunately, it's nutrient deficient. And so I do really believe it's important to supplement with a multivitamin. Dr. Z had mentioned our Isotonic delivery system earlier, and so this is one of those products that is in that powder form, that when you mix the powders with water, forms a solution that your body recognizes as pretty much digested already. And so you get 90 to 95% of the nutritional value. It gets down into your gut, and it has certain base ingredients that cause it to squirt out of your stomach into your small intestines. And so it's just a really complete multivitamin. He had also mentioned some things that are essential. The nutrients in here, the vitamins and minerals that are included in here, meet 100% of the daily value of those essential nutrients. So if you're not getting it in the diet, through your food supply, whether it has it or whether or not you're not eating properly, at least you know you're receiving the proper nutrition here. And so it also helps with the metabolic functioning. Now, in addition to the lack of nutrients that I believe we see in our food supply, you know, we had heard some talk about stress. How many people in the room feel stressed? Or should I say it the other way? How many people don't feel stressed, right? I did a seminar last night down in Manhattan, and when I asked that question, one woman raised her hand and she said, all right, really, that's not true. So, listen, I know we live in a stressful environment, and stress could truly wreak havoc, as you heard earlier. We're not sleeping as well as we should be, right? You heard Monique talk about our amazing Turn Down product. All of these things can cause issues and increase your risk for diseases, right? Cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, and of course, we're being bombarded from the environment, from toxins in the air we breathe, in the soil where our food grows, in the water that we drink. So it's really important, I believe, to supplement with a multi. The next product I want to talk about is our Isotonix Activated B Complex. Now, bees are one of those essential nutrients. They're water soluble. We actually burn through them. And things like stress and lack of sleep and poor diet all come into play, which require us to take in more bees. We can't make them in the body, we have to take them. Bees help with metabolic functions. They help break down our nutrients. So B vitamins are required to break down our proteins, our fats, and our carbohydrates. And the bees are actually part of that digestive process. You heard about serotonin earlier. Our serotonin is actually produced in our gut as well. And B vitamins are part of that process as well. So we do see bees being important to help support a healthy mood and memory. And they do get depleted, as I mentioned, with stressors. So bees in general, not only energy, but help support our nervous system. So as a physical therapist, you know, I work with a lot of patients that have complaints of things like carpal tunnel syndromes and neuropathies. B vitamins are one of those essential nutrients that can help support your nervous system as well. And again, the mental outlook, the mood, and the memory, that comes back to that serotonin because the B vitamins are necessary for that component. And the last one here on the slide you see supports a healthy cardiovascular system. You heard about C-reactive protein earlier, which is a marker in the blood for inflammation. Homocysteine levels are another marker that shows risk factor for cardiovascular disease, also inflammation. And B vitamins have been shown to help maintain healthy homocysteine levels. So they do support cardiovascular health as well. Now I have to tell you that B vitamins in general work really better when they're taken together in combination. When they take in certain amounts, the different B vitamins actually encourage each other to work more efficiently. So this particular activated B complex is actually a combination of all of the Bs, right? And what's also really unique about this particular B vitamin is that we have the activated form of the product, specifically of B6, of folic acid, and of B12. Do you know anyone that's really tired, has a hard time getting through their day? Right? A lot of times when people feel that fatigue, they might go to the physician and get checked, and they might get their B levels checked. Do you know anyone that gets B12 injections? Right? A lot of times people have a difficult time converting Bs in their body into a form that they can use them. There's a gene, and there's variations of different genes, right? Our genes, we're born with them. We can't change them, right? But we can change how some of them behave. We could change the way our genes behave with diet, with lifestyle, and with supplementation, right? Some genes are protective. We want to turn them up or turn them on. Other genes can actually cause damage, and we might want to turn them down or shut them off, right? They put us at increased risk for developing different diseases. Well, there's one gene in particular, there's actually 3 genes, but there's one gene in particular called the Mthfr gene, and about 30 to 50% of the population have variations in that gene that give them a difficult time breaking down and metabolizing Bs into a form they can use, right? And those specific Bs are B6, B12, and folic acid. And so if you're one of those people, then it's really important that you think about taking an activated B vitamin, because even if you're eating foods that are fortified with Bs, they're not going to be in a form that your body's going to be able to utilize. So this particular Isotonix activated B vitamin has the Bs already broken down in that form, and so that you don't need to worry about it, and it gets into your body and it gets in quickly. Now if you're somebody who really has issues with fatigue during the day, you might think about even replenishing those Bs later on in the day and taking a little bit more later in the afternoon. The next product I want to talk about is calcium, and calcium's an essential building block to good health. And most people know calcium is for what? Bones, right? Really important for bones, but did you know it's also important for heart health and cognitive health and your teeth and gums and proper nerve conduction and hormone secretion and blood clotting and immunity and also healthy body weight? It really plays an important role, right? It helps with muscle contraction as well. And so it is one of those nutrients, actually, it's one of those nutrients that is given supportive claims by the FDA for a need to supplement because we don't get enough of it through our diet, right? We heard a little bit about dairy and how dairy might not be so great for you, and I agree 100% with Dr. D. I'm not a big dairy fan. Believe it or not, there's something called the calcium paradox. We here in the United States have the highest intake of dairy more than any other country. But guess what we also have the highest incidence of? Osteoporosis, right? So clearly we're not getting calcium through our dairy products, right? Green leafies might be a better choice for you than, those dairy products. So calcium, this Isotonix Calcium is formulated in such a way, and I have to say this company does such an amazing job in their formulas. They are all backed by scientific research. So the science, the evidence-based studies that these formulas are based on show that calcium also works better in synergy. And so this company puts together 5 different calcium salts. Now everyone knows that calcium needs what other vitamin? D. Vitamin D, right? And by the way, we have our vitamin D in the D3 form in this particular calcium product, but what's also shown in the literature is that in addition to vitamin D, you need manganese, magnesium, boron, and potassium to help drive the calcium to the bones. We don't want it in the circulatory system. We don't want high blood calcium levels, right? We want it going to the bones. And so the way this particular product is formulated with the calcium salts and those additional minerals, it actually drives it to the bones. So it really does make a difference. And I've had patients come into my practice where they've had issues with their bone density levels, and they started taking the Isotonix Calcium and our Isotonix Vitamin D3 that Dr. Z had talked about earlier, and we've actually seen changes in their lab work. So that's really nice to see, right? So calcium, again, supports skeletal health, normal muscle contraction, cardiovascular health. It's been shown to help stabilize and maintain healthy blood sugar levels. There's been some studies that show that it affects and eases PMS symptoms, mood, weight, and calcium is alkalizing, and so it helps to buffer the acidity in the body, and it's just another added benefit. Now, our calcium product is intended to take in what we call a split dose, and that's because the research shows you can't absorb more than a certain amount at a time. And so we usually do 1 capful of that Isotonix powder in the morning, first thing, and another cap at night before you go to bed. And guess what? Calcium actually has been shown to help with sleep. So taking that extra cap of calcium at night, maybe you'll fall asleep a little better and get a better night's sleep, right? And you heard earlier, Monique was talking about our Turn Down product. That has some added calcium in it as well. Part of it is the conversion from the L-tryptophan into the serotonin to the melatonin, but it's also been linked to good, healthy sleep. I know I'm flying through a little bit here, but this is really a product I couldn't not mention, and Dr. Z covered it earlier, so I'm really not going to go into great detail, but that OPC product he spoke about, really, in my opinion, everybody should be on it. It's really a very powerful antioxidant. It has so many overall health benefits, and Dr. Z, again, had covered them. Definitely for cardiovascular health, right? He talked about the endothelial tissue. He talked about opening up those blood vessels. And so the OPC has been shown to help vasodilate and open up those blood vessels and allow the blood to flow through those vessels a little freer. And so it's really been shown to improve that overall cardiovascular health, as well as he had talked about lowering those C-reactive protein levels, right? It was 52% lowering of the C-reactive protein levels, and that study was done over a couple of months. So lots of benefits. Maritime pine bark, grapeseed extract, bilberry, the red wine extract are those ingredients in that OPC3 product. And again, I have to tell you, it's something my whole family takes. My husband, all 4 of my children take OPC every day. My mother-in-law takes OPC3 every day. She actually says OPC, although it stands for oligomeric peroxyanogens, she says it stands for Old People's Cure. She swears by it. And so when I was giving it to my 11-year-old one day, he said, "Ma, why are you giving me OPC? Grandma said it stands for Old People's Cure. I'm not old." Oh, I had to explain that one. So really, it is one of those products, as he talked about all those health benefits before, I'm not going to go into them again, but really overall cardiovascular health, fantastic antioxidant, and if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend you go into the back and try some. I need to talk a little bit about energy. Monique spoke about our Turn Down product for sleep. This is actually our Turn Up product, our Isotonix Essentials Turn Up. And I love this product. This one and the Turn Down are 2 of our newer products. And I have to tell you guys, they work fantastically. This is not only energy, but this is for focus and for mental clarity. So how many people, you're in your house and you run up to the top of the stairs to get something and you get up to the top and you can't remember why you ran up there? Right? It happens to me all the time. I need to take more of this. It is so true. You try and get something done and you get easily distracted, and so you're sitting there trying to write bills, and next thing you know, you're throwing, in a load of laundry, and oh gosh, I gotta let the dog out, right? And so this is where this product comes in, because it really seems to help you focus and pay a little bit more attention and gives you a little more clarity. And I'm gonna share with you why. It's actually what we call a 3-part attack. The first part is to generate energy. Now, this has some caffeine in it, but it's not caffeine from a coffee bean. It's actually caffeine from an herbal source. So it's got some guarana in it and yerba mate. That form of caffeine is a xanthine. It's a little different than a coffee bean. I'm the person that could drink a pot of coffee and go to bed. Anyone like that? I don't, but I could, right? My husband will drink a cup of coffee and he'll be up all night. So it really just depends on you. For me, the caffeine in a xanthine form actually gives me more energy. It's more sustained. I don't have like a jittery and then a crash like sometimes you might get with coffee. And so it's a really nice way to get a little bit of an extra energy in. And so that's the form of caffeine that's in there. So it is a little different than a coffee bean. The other part, the second part, is to replete, right? And I talked about the activated B vitamins and how we can, first of all, they're water soluble, and depending on how we sleep and how stressed out we are and how well we eat, we're gonna burn through those Bs. They need to be replenished. And so this actually replenishes those B vitamins. It has magnesium in it, and it also has that coenzyme Q10 that Dr. Z had talked about earlier. I'm finishing up my clinical nutrition degree right now, and I listened for 2 hours today on coenzyme Q10. That's how important it is, guys, okay? Energy on a cellular level. Again, Dr. Z talked about the ejection fraction and the heart pump. Really comes into play here in terms of getting that extra energy in. And the third part of that is the mental focus and clarity. And that's where the amino acids come in. And so these amino acids have been very well studied, let me go back 1 minute, to help us with mental focus and mental clarity. And they're things like L-taurine and L-phenylalanine and glycine. Those work together to help us focus, right? And so that's the three-part attack, getting those neurotransmitters going properly, get you engaged a little more into what you're doing so you can get done and you don't run up to the top of the stairs and forget what you were going up for. So our turn-up product increases energy, helps improve mental focus, cognitive health, and it's also been shown to help promote and regulate the hormones and the enzymes, and again, that's where those amino acids come in. Tastes really good. And they also come in these little individual packets, as when you go in the back that you'll see, you can throw them right in your bag, right? And so if you start dragging in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, you're driving around looking for what? Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, right? You could try taking the turn-up packet instead, save yourself $4 on a latte. And then our other packets that we have in our Isotonix Essentials is our anti-aging. Now, we all know we can't prevent aging, right? There's no fountain of youth, no magic, right? But we do want to age gracefully, yes? I would like to age gracefully. So I want to share with you our Isotonix Anti-Aging Essentials. Now I have to tell you, these 4 gentlemen on this slide, guess what?
Same age.
They're all the same age. They're all 60 years old, right? Pretty amazing. So what makes somebody age more gracefully than somebody else? Well, the studies show, and these studies were actually done in twins, that yes, there's a genetic component to it, but look at this. 20 to 30% of an individual's lifespan is related to genetics, while the rest is related to behavior. It's related to lifestyle. It's related to the food that you put in your mouth. It's related to how you manage your stress. It's related to whether or not you get a good night's sleep, right? Those things all come into play. And the nutrition that you put in your mouth, part of that comes down to supplementation. And so you want to live and have a good longevity and healthy aging, you might want to think about what you're putting in that mouth and how you're managing those other things. So this packet actually helps support cognitive health. It has antioxidants in there to help fight those free radicals so that you get that apoptosis, cell death when you're supposed to, right? So you don't end up with things like cancer, cardiovascular disease, and also help support muscle health, energy, and stamina. Now, this is a fantastic product, guys. This is something that you can take as a standalone, or you could take it with some of the others. I just wanted to point out a couple of the ingredients in here. It does have a bit of a multivitamin. This does have vitamin D3 in it, and that was, something you guys heard earlier from Dr. Z, the importance of taking that vitamin D3. That's already in here. Okay, so if you were taking this on a daily basis, you wouldn't necessarily need to take the additional D because it has 5,600 IUs, and the vitamin K as well. What it also has in here is chromium, and chromium is a mineral that helps support healthy blood sugar levels. And so as we age, we start to see that change in our insulin and sensitivity, and it puts at an increased risk for developing metabolic disease and diabetes. So chromium is one of those minerals that seems to help stabilize healthy blood sugar levels. It has coenzyme Q10 in there as well. We already talked about the importance of that. Right? And one other thing it has in there that I just want to point out, besides some of the other minerals, it has some iron in there, because as we age, it's been shown that we need some additional iron. And the iron in here, I just like to mention, because I've had a lot of patients, on iron supplementation, and what does iron do?
Constipates you.
It upsets the stomach, it's very constipating, it can taste really nasty. The iron in here is a trademarked iron called Sun Active. It's more bioavailable and it's much gentler on the GI tract, and I have to tell you, we have not seen those GI issues with this particular form of iron as some of the other irons that people might take. All right, we're gonna move into joint health, and Lisa had talked about, her back pain and so forth. So we have just a couple products I'm just gonna share with you quickly. One is our joint support formula. This is a great product, guys. I have had a lot of success with my patients in the office. A lot of the common ingredients that you'll see are things like MSM and chondroitin, but they're not really well supported in the research. So what this company has done is put in the proven ingredients. We have glucosamine in there. We have hyaluronic acid, which is hydrating for the joints. It pulls in fluid. It's been shown to help improve synovial fluid. And we have that pycnogenol that you'll see in that OPC, which helps not only with inflammation, and it decreases the pain as well, but it really has been shown to help with flexibility of the joint and joint motion and comfort as well. Okay, great product. And then we have bromelain, right? You heard about inflammation and how it can wreak havoc in the body, right? Inflammation is related to all disease processes. It's cardiovascular disease and everything else. Bromelain comes from the stem of a pineapple. You might be familiar with it. It's been used really for muscle support and a lot of different muscle formulas. It's been shown to help with inflammation, and it's been really shown to help with things like sprains and strains and tendinitis, and helps promote healing. And so it's a fantastic ingredient to think about using after maybe you've had an injury to help speed up the healing process, decrease the pain, and decrease the inflammation. But that bromelain is actually added to something else called white willow bark. And white willow bark is actually a salicylate. You guys know what salicylate is, right? It's like an aspirin. And so aspirins do what? They help with pain, they also help with inflammation. And so the bromelain along with the white willow bark really work together with some proteases, which have been shown to help break down proteins and work really well to help promote a good immune system. The proteases help break down the protein that those cells, when they're turning bad, they like to hide behind, right? It's like a barrier so that your body doesn't recognize them and can't kill them off, and they can multiply and cause, cancer. And so it supports the immune system. It really helps support inflammation. It really helps promote healing. Like I said, especially after injury and surgeries. It's good for dental work. It's good for podiatry as well. Any kind of surgeries, it really helps with the pain and the inflammation and speeding up the healing. So protect, repair, and heal. It's a great product, really great. And then I just want to talk about our immune, right? Now, Jessica covered some products that talked about gut health, and I'm going to fly through immune and then just share a little bit more with that, because most of our immune system actually lives in our gut. Okay, 60-70% of the immune system lives in the gut, and so it's really important that you keep a healthy gut. But I want to just talk for a moment about the immune system. Right, we have what we call our innate immune system. That's what we're born with. Right? When we come out, we have a little bit of a reaction to what our surroundings are, and that's the innate system. And then we have our adaptive immune system. That's dependent on growing to what we're exposed to, right? And what do we do today? What do you see all over the place, wherever you go, including hanging on your kids' backpacks today? Hand sanitizer, right? Everything is sterile. Like, we want a sterile environment, but you know what? If we don't have exposure to things, we're not going to build that adaptive immune system. In my opinion, this is the way kids should be, not smothered in hand sanitizer. They should be outside in the mud playing, right? Not inside, all clean and tidy, playing on their computers. They should be outside, dirty, filthy, in bed hopefully by 7:30 and asleep for the night so mommy can relax, right? So I have to say, this was my kids. We have a trademarked ingredient in our immune support. It's called Wellmune. It's derived from a proprietary strain of yeast. Dr. Z had talked earlier about, mentioned mushrooms. Those break down, those are beta-glucans, and this is actually similar. This beta-glucan comes from yeast, though, instead of mushroom source, but it works in the same way as those mushrooms that he was talking about earlier. This Wellmune has been proven in clinical trials to be effective to support the immune system. It supports those neutrophils and those macrophages that he had mentioned earlier as well. And so it helps promote them to work more efficiently. It also has vitamin C and zinc in there. And the vitamin C and the zinc also function to support the immune system. It supports the cell membrane as well. And so you get a really nice benefit from this product. Guys, I have to tell you, this was a really bad winter, wasn't it? A really bad winter with colds and flus, right? So you heard about how the vitamin D supports the immune system and how important that is. We, in my household, use the vitamin D3, we use the immune, and we use some of the digestive health products along with that. And I have to tell you, even though my kids' friends were all sick, we beat it. We made it through the entire winter with not a single cold, nothing. My daughter came home and she said, "Ma, all my friends have the flu." So guess what we did? We pumped in the vitamins, right? Supported her immune system, and we made it through the winter. So I was really happy about that, right? Part of that component of supporting the immune system, again, comes to gut health. And so Jessica had mentioned our aloe juice. Aloe juice not only helps to coat, soothe, and heal, but it also helps to boost that immune system. It's a fantastic product to think about taking when you feel run down, but it's also fantastic to take for a lot of other reasons. It's got a lot of vitamins and minerals in it. We actually have a patented process. I have to tell you, not all aloe is created equal. I had a lot of people come back and say, "Well, I tried aloe, but it actually upset my stomach." It's really important if you try an aloe product and you have little pieces in it, it's not good, right? So you want to make sure to take a good high quality. And aloe juice in this company really is very well made. And then we have our digestive enzymes that Jessica talked about as well, that I'm not going to go through again, but they help break down those proteins, carbs, and fats. And the very last one, which she also mentioned, is our probiotics. And she mentioned the technology of that and the fact that there are 10 different strains in our probiotic. We have live back technology, which keeps them shelf stable. They're not temperature sensitive, but they are actually pH sensitive. And then we have BioTrack technology that helps keep those bacteria alive as they go down through the digestive tract, and so that they could form those colonies wherever they might have an affinity to do that. So the probiotics help also support the immunity. By the way, if anyone takes an antibiotic, you guys know you should take a probiotic, right? And you should not only take the probiotic for the length of the course of the antibiotic, but it could take up to 6 months to replenish that good bacteria in the gut, so make sure you continue to take it. We have the adult formula, we have a children's chewable formula, which has 5 billion 5 strain, and then we also have an infant formula, which has 2 strains of probiotics, and those are the ones that are naturally found in breast milk. If anyone has any or knows any little babies that have colic, an upset stomach, that works really well along with the aloe juice with the plain flavor. So I just want to thank you again all for coming tonight.